Karen, listen, doctor, family doctor. Night and
Hi everyone. I hope that you guys can hear me now. We are waiting for more people to join. So we have around 23 people right now on the call. We are expecting close to 45. Let's give 2 more minutes to them. It's 3-3 right now. At 3-5, whatever is the attendance, we will get started with that. I request all of you to keep yourself on mute. I still see that some people are not on mute. Keep yourself on mute because there is background noise and that disturbs everybody. If you have any question during the session, you can always unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. We have Mr. Sagar Patil with us today from Allergan. Now, as you all must be aware, Allergan is the market leader in injectables. Botox is a registered brand of Allergan. In the fillers market also, they have a lion's share of the market. So between Botox and fillers within aesthetics, if you see, more than two-thirds of the treatments carried out are either Botox or fillers. So it has a very huge market share in aesthetics industry right now, and especially when you are talking about minimally invasive treatments. So we thought that we will talk to Allergan and we'll get them to present what Botox and fillers is all about, and what is the market and how we should go about doing it. So Mr. Sagar Patil is working with Allergan for more than 6 years now. Currently, he is managing the entire Western Maharashtra region for Allergan, and he is also trained by Allergan Medical Academy. So he is a certified trainer from Allergan Medical Academy. He also does a lot of these training sessions for doctors. So I would welcome him for on this session. First of all, I would like to thank him for taking this time out for our students and arranging this session for them. Now I will hand it over to Mr. Sagar so that he can take it over and he can start his session. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, my voice is audible to everyone. Clear?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Uh,
Yes, sir.
so welcome everyone. Nandanji have already introduced me. Thank you, Nandanji. And I'm Sagar Patil. And as I have described by Nandanji, today we will be going through like anatomy, followed by the aging concepts, and introduction to Botox as well as fillers. In fillers, we have brand named Juveda. So it's a vast topic, definitely, and 1.5 hours is not enough, but I'll try to cover whatever is important, whatever is required. Okay. So we'll start with the anatomy with respect to the injectable portfolio, that is Botox as well as fillers. So should we start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So welcome everyone. At the end of this presentation, you will be able to outline the anatomy of the face. You'll be able to describe the structure of the skin and underlying tissues, the key anatomical features, as well as how they affect the person's appearance. And you'll be able to understand the anatomical danger zones when using the facial injectables. So basically, you you all must be knowing the anatomy and all. This session will be a kind of a refresher to you. So let's start. So first is, why do we look the way we look? So as you can see in the slide, 4 structures are there. First is bone, second is fat pad, third is muscles, and fourth is the skin. So these are 4 layers of our face. The bones support the tissues of the face, fat pads beneath the skin provide the volume, muscles contracts and relaxes, and we have a skin. And as we age, it leads to the facial aging. And this can be combated using dermal fillers to restore volume and Botox to relax the facial muscles. So while the facial assessment, we normally divide the face into 3 parts: upper face, mid face, and lower face. So as you can see, upper face usually we call it as in a scientific term periorbital area, mid face infraorbital area, and lower face majorly we call it a perioral area as a whole. Let's analyze the facial expressions. Facial expressions results from a complex interplay of the muscles of the face, and the muscle function is controlled by the various facial nerves and its branches. So as you can see, there is a nerve impulse to the relaxed muscle and then the muscle gets contracted. So what happens? What are the different facial expressions we have? And in these facial expressions, various muscles are involved. As you can see over the screen, a lady is expressing various expressions: surprise look, sad look, happy look. So let's see what are the muscles involved in all these expressions. So when we give a surprise look, majorly frontalis muscle is involved. For frowning, majorly procerus, corrugator supercilii, and depressor supercilii. All these 3 muscles are togetherly involved. Again, when we give an angry look, procerus is the muscle which is responsible. When we squint, orbicularis oculi is involved. For kissing, orbicularis oris muscle is involved. And for pouting, orbicularis oris plus mentalis, both the muscles are involved. And when we smile, so there are 4 muscles are involved: levator anguli oris, eleo, zygomaticus minor, major, and risorius. When we whistle, buccinator is involved majorly, and various mouth movements. For example, levator labii superioris. So the name only suggests levator means it elevates, labii means lip, superioris means upwards. It elevates the upper lip upwards. Depressor anguli oris. Again, a name suggests depressor means depresses, anguli means angle of the mouth, oris means the corner. It depresses the angle of the mouth downward. Again, a depressor labii inferioris means it depresses the lower lip downwards. While chewing, main masseter muscle is involved, and the neck movements platysma involved. So let's further analyze the anatomy. We have just seen the muscles and their role, various expressions and the muscles involved. As I have already told, the face has 4 key anatomical layers: the bone, then the fat pads, then muscles, and then skin. Skin we will see later. Let's see the bones. So majorly the facial appearance or a facial shape is influenced by the underlying structure, that is bone. And when it comes to facial assessment, there are 5 facial bones which are important. One is the frontal bone, muscle bone, zygomatic bone, maxilla, and mandible. And as we age, bone degradation leads to a change in facial structure and support. So can you see the changes in the bone structure? Can anyone tell me at what level the bone degradation has happened? Which bone has been degraded? We have just seen the 5 major bones.
Zygomatic.
Mandible.
Yeah,
Mandible.
bone degradation happened at the level of mandible bone as well as the frontal bone. Yeah, the cheekbone. The major degradation happened in the periorbital region. So periorbital area is the first area where the bone degradation or the fat degradation happens. That's why tear trough as an indication we see very common. So in facial aging, we should look at the degradation at all 4 layers. Let's move forward. So what bone provides us the structure, and the volume is provided by the various fat pads. So fat pad is divided into a different segment. We have a forehead compartment which is divided into 3 parts: middle forehead, central forehead. Then we have a orbital compartment. Again it is divided into 3 parts: superior orbital compartment, inferior, and lateral orbital compartment. Then we have a cheek compartment, means cheek fat pad, medial, middle, and lateral, you can see. Then we have a nasolabial fat pad. So these fat pads are very important because they provides us the volume. So what happens with aging? With aging, volume loss and descent of the fat pads have visible effects on the face. So here you can see the 2 faces. One is young face and an old face. Young face or a youthful face is characterized by the triangular shape with a prominent cheekbones in the mid face and that narrows down towards the chin. And what happens with aging? The triangle of youth is inverted as the volume is lost from the upper cheek region and it descends towards the jowl. So we call it this phenomena as a inversion of beauty or an inversion of youthfulness. Yeah. So can you appreciate? Can you see the change? So this is the picture of our former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Can you see when she was young, there was a volume at the cheekbone level and the tapered chin was there. And when we age, all the tissue as well as cheek fat pad comes down and jowls formation or a sagginess we can see. Yeah. So this is the famous, this was the famous heroine, Asha. Can you see the changes? When she was young, the facial shape was there, the structure, facial shape, all the characteristics were there, like brow shape or eyebrow distance, nose, lips, cheekbones, chin, everything was perfect. And as she aged, all the volume from the mid face descends down to the lower face. So the inversion of beauty happened. So from this, what's the crux of this? The root cause is mid face. So if you correct, the correction, lower face correction lies in the mid face first. Like if you want to correct the mid face, you will have to correct mid face first, because the root cause is mid face. Everything is descending down from the mid face. Yeah. Can you appreciate the changes in the Amitabh Bachchan picture? Like when he was young, you can see a sharper jawline, lower jaw is good, and as he aged, everything is descending down. Nasolabial formation is there, static lines and wrinkles we can see, under eye. So many changes are there. Again, inversion of the triangle. And you all know about the skin. I'll just read what are the functions of the skin, why the skin is important. Skin provides us the protection. The functions are protection, sensations, temperature regulation, blood reservoir, and excretion. You all know about the structure of the skin. The main parts are epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous layer. The dermis gives the skin strength and rigidity, which is divided again into the papillary dermis and reticular dermis. This slide is important. The structure of dermal tissue, the fibrous component. These collagen fibers gives the skin structure and strain. Elastin fibers gives the elasticity and flexibility. So these are two major factors which are responsible for skin quality, maintaining the skin quality. And the main component is of course the hyaluronic acid. So what it does, it binds and retains the water, lubricates, it provides bulk, it aids the cell movement, and it acts as a protective barrier. So here we are going to see the dynamic lines and static lines. So when a muscle contracts beneath Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we were at, just a minute, I'll just scroll the slides. Yeah. Yeah. Can you all see the screen?
Yes,
Yes, it's
yes.
visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now that we have seen the structure which is provided by our bone, volume which is provided by our facial fat pads, then expressions wherein our muscles are involved, and the skin. These are four important layers. Now the what are the things we should be careful? So these are the arteries we should be careful. Main is facial artery course. We should be thorough with the facial artery course, which start at the mandible angle, at the anterior inferior border of the mandible angle. Here you can see it starts here and it goes upwards, and at the angle of the mouth, just 1 to 1.5 centimeter away from the angle of the mouth, it gets divided into two branches, that is superior labile and inferior labile. Further it goes upward tortuously, and here at the nasal bone its name changes to angular artery, and further it anastomosis and it gives the supratrochlear and supraorbital arteries. So we should be thorough with this facial artery course, because arteries, the injection in the arteries should be avoided, and for that every time aspiration is very much important. Nerves, we should be aware of the nerves. Majorly the infraorbital, supraorbital and a mental foramen. These three foramens we should focus on, wherein vein is there. Vein means vein, artery and nerve. Yeah. So this we have already seen: the bone, the fat pads, the muscles, the skin. Bone provides structure, fat pad provides volume. Muscles are responsible for the fine lines because of expression, dynamic fine lines, and the skin quality. So how will you apply your understanding of this facial anatomy in your new role? That will be important. I know anatomy is a huge subject, but with the paucity of time and whatever is related to our injectable portfolio, I am just sharing with you the in a nutshell. So now I'll be opening the next presentation, that is aging. Can you all see the slide? Aging and aesthetics market.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, as we all know, what causes facial aging? So when it comes to a natural aging, there are bone changes, there are degradation in the dermis level, at the soft tissue level. repetitive facial expressions, genetics and gravity is involved. So these are the natural aging factors. And premature aging, under that we have a photo aging, sun exposure, smoking and diet. This we have seen already in the last slide, very important slide. So what happens? What happens in 20s and 30s? So there is a reduction in collagen production begins, and it decreases the thickness of the skin, and it starts the formation of expression lines, dynamic lines, especially in the upper face. In upper face means forehead lines or frown lines, they just start. Further, some static lines also appear around the mouth as well as around the nose. So around the mouth, we call it a smoker's line. Around the nose, we call it a nasolabial folds. And as we have already discussed, some sagging due to loss of elastin. Let's come to what happens in 40s and 50s. Heavier and deeper expression lines develop in the upper and lower face. Expression lines in upper face start to become static. So this point is very much important. Expression lines in upper face start to become static. So therefore Botox treatment is very much important, because if you are skipping the Botox initially, the expression lines which we could have treated while they were dynamic, but now with the repetitive activity of the muscles, those expression lines or dynamic lines has become static. Now Botox doesn't work on static lines. We have to target it, or we have to treat it with the fillers. So further, what happens? Increased sagginess, volume loss in the mid and lower face as well as in the neckline region. Vertical lines appear and deepen around the lips. What happens when we are 60 plus? Again, there is a further increase in deepening of all lines. Many dynamic lines in upper and lower face become static. General sagging and volume loss of the whole face and neckline. Lips condition continues to decline. So in every face, you can see the deepening of the expression lines, the static lines are increasing, the volume is decreasing, or sagging also increasing. So at all levels, the degradation occurs. At the bone level, at the fat pad level, muscle level, as well as on the skin level. So while doing the facial assessment, we should consider all these 4 layers. We should see the lines, volume and structure. Okay. So in the last presentation, we have seen this figure. So what happened here? Changes to the facial skeleton affect the structure of the face as we age. Facial appearance is influenced by the underlying facial bones. Bone changes occur independently of dentition, but loss of teeth also has an impact. Loss of soft tissue in the cheek reduces the facial support. So this statement is very much important. Facial aging is marked by degradation of the bony skeleton, descent of the cheek fat and depletion of the cheek fullness. And together what these cause, it reduces the overall projection and concavity of the cheek, and it reduces the support of overlying soft tissue structures. So as we can see, triangle of youth again. Here you can see the youthful face has a uniform roundness of the cheek, right? And with aging, this fullness is lost and it forms as a Y shape. The soft tissue in the midface become laxed and it inverts the triangle of the youth. So here from the figure you can appreciate how the changes occurs. Young skin and aged skin. So you all doctors are expert in the skin. In aged skin, there is obviously less elasticity, less collagen, dermis is thinner and weaker. Also the water content is low, dry skin. So let's see how wrinkles form. At the skin level, skin becomes thinner and less elastic. Bone level, shrinkage of facial bones. At the fat pad level, loss of superficial fat. Skin sags. The result is skin sags. And at the muscle level, repetitive muscle contraction as well as habitual facial expression, it results into the skin stretches, skin sags and skin stretches. So because of these, wrinkles develop. Premature aging processes. This we have already seen. Sun damage, smoking and diet, they are responsible for premature aging. It damages the collagen and elastin. It accelerates the aging, and the free radicals are also responsible for the premature aging. Photoaging, again, you all know, no need to explain. Signs of photoaging includes freckles, age spots, dry skin, loose skin, blotches, patches, red skin, fine wrinkles. Yeah, here you can see the perioral area. Smoking significantly speeds up the process of aging skin, and you can see the static lines around the lips. Also you can see the volume of the lips degradation, the lip border, the cupid's bow, or the hydration content of the lip. So everything is lost at that perioral area. And diet plays a very also important role. Macro and micronutrients are required, as well as antioxidants are required to maintain a healthy skin. Facial revitalization treatment areas. So these are the indications of Botox and fillers together. Glabellar lines, frown lines. Glabellar lines are also known as frown lines, crow's feet, and horizontal forehead lines. These are the Botox indication in the upper face. In the next slide, I'll be showing you the images, so don't worry. Will not focus too much on this slide. So as I have already explained, glabellar lines or frown lines form due to the repeated frowning and loss of skin elasticity. Procerus, depressor supercilii, corrugator supercilii, and orbicularis oculi. These four muscles are involved when it comes to a frown complex. How crow's feet lines are formed? Crow's feet lines form due to the repeated contraction of the orbicularis oculi muscles. You can see the muscle picture as well as the crow's feet lines. Orbicularis oculi controls blinking, squinting, and forceful eyelid closure. How the horizontal forehead lines are formed? They are created by the repeated contraction of the frontalis muscle. Frontalis is the only elevator muscle in the upper face. Therefore, we always we always give less unit in the frontalis because it's the only elevator muscle, and rest all muscle, be it a procerus or a depressor supercilii or orbicularis oculi or a corrugator, all these four muscles are depressors. So four depressor and one elevator. Therefore, we always give less unit in the frontalis to start with. So how the tear trough is formed? Volume loss is the predominant cause of tear trough deformity. Tear trough deformity is nothing but a hollow ridge below the eye, and which result into the tired appearance or a sad appearance. The underlying cause of tear trough can be multifactorial. It includes the volume loss as well as the skin laxity. Also, in some patients, dark circles under the eyes can also develop due to the prominent subcutaneous venous pooling, pigmentation, and changes in the skin thickness. So here you can see the sagging. Sagging of soft tissue with aging causes deepening of nasolabial folds. So here, if we want to treat or if we want to give a filler in nasolabial fold, the direct approach to the nasolabial fold should be avoided, because the root cause lies in the mid face, as we have already discussed. From the cheek fat or from the mid face, all the fat pad descend down, and it descend down inferomedially. Therefore, treating nasolabial folds directly was an earlier phenomena, but now treating the root cause is the best practice. Volume loss in the upper lip can lead in the flattening of Cupid's bow. So here you can see the youthful lip as well as the aged lip. Here you can see the Cupid's bow, and in the aged lip we can see there is a complete volume loss or complete flattening of the Cupid's bow. Lip border is also lost. Lengthening of the upper lip, we can see white lip. So this image we have seen already in the last slide. What happens? Thinning of the skin and subcutaneous tissue causes perioral wrinkles. We call it as a smoker's lines. Marionette lines, which starts from the corner of the mouth and it descends down. And when it deepens, or when the severity increases or the degree increases, we call it as a mentolabial folds. A drooping appearance of the perioral area is a characteristic sign of aging, and this is caused by the DAO muscle in the volume loss in that area. Dimpled chin. A dimpled chin, it is also known as an orange peel, or we also call it as a pudi orange. So two muscles are majorly involved here, DAO and mentalis. And because of this, what happens? Mental crease become deep, as well as we can see the dimples on the chin. Loss of collagen as well as subcutaneous fat in the chin, and the muscle activity is involved for this, both the indication, dimpled chin and a mental crease deepening. Jowls develop when the jawline loses its firmness, and as we have seen, jowls makes the lower face appear wider, and the root cause is mid face. So let's see the effects of aging on the neck and decolletage. Aging leads to loss of smooth contour and definition of the neck, plus changes to the texture and appearance of the skin. So as you can see, loss of subcutaneous fat, it accentuates the lines and wrinkles, formation of jowls, adds to the aged look of neck area, loss of collagen and elastin. Here the skin becomes lax, wrinkled and creepy. And sun damage to the export areas, skin becomes mottled and patchy. So again, as we have seen, aging occurs at all the levels, and we have to take into consideration all the levels, that is bone, fat pad, muscles and skin. We have to see the lines, static and dynamic, volume loss and structure, means bony changes. I think there is only one slide on aesthetic industry, and this data is of 2019. The global anti-aging market is estimated to be worth approximately $191.7 billion, and it involves various non-invasive and invasive procedures. This is just for knowledge you must be knowing. There are various treatment modalities available: thread lifting, needling, injectable, abrasion, fat freezing, fat dissolving, wave therapy and light therapy. So these are various treatment modalities. But I'll explain you where the Botox and filler fits in. Injectables. So in injectables, earlier there were collagen fillers were also there, but now hyaluronic acid fillers are popular because they give us a choice, and they are biodegradable fillers. They contain the hyaluronic acid, and we have a botulinum toxin, that is Botox. Botox blocks the nerve impulses to the muscle, and therefore it relaxes the muscle, and effectively it reduces the dynamic wrinkles. Botox acts only on dynamic wrinkles. Dynamic wrinkles means the lines which forms or which we can see only after the expressions. This is the basic difference between Botox and filler. On static lines, or if static lines are there, means the lines which we can see even if we are not expressing, there we can use fillers. So till now we have seen the basic anatomy as well as the aging process and how it impacts the face at all 4 levels. So let's move to the next presentation, that is Botox. Yeah. Okay. Can you all see the screen? Can you all see the first page of the
Yes.
PPT? Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. So Botox is a brand name from Allergan. It's a research product of Allergan. Okay. Now Botox brand itself has become a therapy name. It's like Bisleri. You know, whenever any person wants mineral water, he doesn't say I want a mineral water bottle. He says Bisleri. Likewise, Botox has become such a brand. Therefore, we always tell a physician, we always tell a doctors, and we always suggest the patients, whenever you go to the physician or whenever you ask for a brand Botox, you should verify or see it is it should be from Allergan and there should be a brand name mentioned as Botox. So let's see the Botox indications. When the severity of the facial lines has an important psychological impact in adult patients, Botox is indicated for the temporary improvement in the appearance of moderate to severe vertical lines between the eyebrows seen at maximum frown. We call it as a glabellar lines or frown lines. Then moderate to severe lateral canthal lines seen at maximum smile. We call it crow's-feet lines. Also, further, moderate to severe forehead lines seen at maximum eyebrow elevation. We call it a horizontal forehead lines. So these three are the approved cosmetic indications of Botox. So GL, here GL stands for glabellar lines. So how to treat a GL? So in the image you can see 5-point glabellar lines injection, 2 injection in each corrugator muscle. Here you can see this is a corrugator, these are corrugator points. 1 injection in the procerus muscle and a total dose of 20 units. We recommend 20 units in the glabellar lines. So 4 units each point. These are 5 points in frown complex or a glabellar lines, 4 unit each point. So 20 unit is the recommended dose from the Allergan in the frown complex or glabellar lines. Crow's feet lines. So 3 injection sites per side. So you can see in the yellow color, 3 injection lines injected in the lateral orbicularis oculi muscle and a total dose of 24 units, that is 12 unit per side. So if we are giving 12 unit per side, that will be the ideal dose. 12 unit per side divided into 3 points means at 1 point 4 unit. So 4 unit at 1 point, 12 unit per side, and for both the sides 24 units. FHL means forehead lines. While treating forehead lines, so here 5 injection sites are mentioned, but for forehead lines we recommend go with the patient expectations, patient outcome. If if any patient is in the acting industry, so he or she might not need more units. He or she will tell that I don't want my face or my upper face to be expressionless. So then थोड़ा बहुत वहाँ पे expression होना चाहिए. So वहाँ पे हम 4 to 5 units दे सकते हैं. For male, the unit can go to 8 to 10 units. For female, 6 to 8 units. For males, 8 to 12 units. That's what we recommend. But when it comes to glabellar complex, 20 units is the ideal dose. For crow's-feet lines, 24 units is the ideal dose. So 24 plus 20, 44 units. And for female, we recommend 6 to 8. And for male, we recommend 8 to 12 units. Means if any client comes for upper face Botox means all the 3 indications, a complete 50 unit vial is required. We have a 50 unit vial as well as a 100 unit vial in our kitty. So this is just a history of a Botox, how it started, or what are the other indications or other clinical indications where Botox is approved. There are more than 30 indications where Botox is used. Some of the indications are strabismus, cervical dystonia, cerebral palsy, spasticity, hyperhidrosis, So let's see the contraindications. Contraindications under that, a known hypersensitivity or a myasthenia gravis, Eaton-Lambert syndrome, a presence of infection at the proposed injection site, and pregnancy and lactations. These 4-5 are the contraindications of the Botox. Amitabh Bachchan has a myasthenia gravis, so he doesn't take Botox at all. Let's see the inference of the studies. Botox onset of effect. So here from the graph you can see 48% patient confirm the onset of the effect of Botox at day 1 and 87% physician confirmed onset of action of Botox by day 2. Usually we say the Botox effects start at the 2nd or 3rd day and the final effect comes at the 7th day. And Botox longevity is up to 4 months. The result lasts up to 4 months. In some cases, it may last up to 5 months or maximum 6 months. But as a company, we recommend up to 4 months. So here you can see the satisfaction, Botox patient satisfaction. So there are 3 criteria: effect of the treatment, experience of the procedure, and overall treatment. So in all these 3 categories, at the end of the 1st month and at the end of the 4th month, almost the percentage satisfaction is above 80 and 85%. This is a very important point here. Remember, injection points and dosages vary from patient to patient as they depend on individual functional anatomy as well as the severity of clinical issue and the desired clinical outcome. Let's quickly see the indications. So here are some examples or the clinical variations of glabellar lines. Some patients have glabellar lines, we call it as 11 because we can see a 11 number in them. Some patients have only one lines in between the eyebrows, we call it as a 1 type. In some patients we see the scrunch, so there is a horizontal line. So the lines are always formed perpendicular to the origin of the muscles. So here procerus is responsible for the scrunch and corrugators are responsible for the 11 type or a 1 type glabellar lines. So here can you see there are different variations, and as per the patient assessment the injection points are there. So in the first patient we have marked 3 plus 3 plus 1, 7 point for glabellar complex. Again same for second patient, but when it comes to a third patient, his procerus is strong, so only his corrugators are not strong. But you can see there is a asymmetry in his eyebrows. So as per the muscle activity, as per the pull of the muscle, we have marked the injection points there, only 3 points. In the 4th and 5th patients, ideal case 5-point glabellar lines. You can see the before and after photos. A fabulous change, a wow effect. The effect starts at the 3rd day, the final effect comes by the 7th day. Let's see the crow's feet. Again, a crow's feet, there are 4 variations. A full fan means all the periorbital area is surrounded with lines. Central means only the there is a single central line at the lateral canthal level. Lower means on the lower side, upper means on the upper side. So ideally we give 3-point crow's feet injection, but as per the muscle activity, the point of injection varies. So in the first patient only 2 points, second patients there is only central crow's feet line, that's why only 1 injection point. Again for third patients only 2 injections. And you can see the last patient where is a full fan is there. So 6 points. So as I have already told, the point of injection or the dose varies patient to patient based on the assessment. Look at the before and after photos. Yeah. Let's quickly see the frontalis forehead lines. These are the clinical variations. Blinds, single stray line or apostrophe. And based on that, the point of injection marking varies. So can you see the points are marked around the creases, around the lines. Let's see the before and after photos. Nice results. So these three were the approved indications and maximum indications which we are doing currently. Let's see the brow injections. There are 3 types of brow: arched brow, flared brow, horizontal brow. Brow shapes can be enhanced, can be done with the help of Botox. So if you want to arch shape, we can give a 2 units. We have to mark the mid pupillary line and just 1 centimeter lateral to the mid pupillary line, just below the eyebrow. We have to give the 2 units. Then the shape of the eyebrow becomes arched. And if we want a flared eyebrow, again draw mid pupillary lines and just 1 centimeter lateral to the mid pupillary line, 1 unit, 2 unit, 2 unit, 5 units per side. Then it gives the flared eyebrows. So can you see the results? Can you see the distance before and after distance? In the pre-photo, the distance is shown by the 3 lines. In the post photos, you can see the distance has been increased. Yeah, in this photo, you can appreciate the distance which is increased. All the yellow lines are nothing but the increased distance proportion. So Botox also plays an important role in brow elevation. Bunny lines or a nasal scrunch that can be treated with Botox. Nasalis, transverse nasalis muscle is involved majorly in bunny lines. Sometimes LLS-AN is also involved. That is levator labis superiorus alecanus. Yeah. So 3 points in the first patients. Let's see the results before and after photos. While doing the bunny lines, we should be more medial. We should not be two lateral, if if injections are two lateral, then it may migrate to adjacent muscle, that is LLS-AN or LLS. Mentalis chin. Yeah. So we have seen the mentalis muscle is responsible for the pudi orange, or it increases the, or it deepens the mental crease. Therefore, we give these two injections. Chin plays a very important role, as we have seen while doing the facial assessment. We always divide the face into three parts: upper face, mid face, and lower face. Upper face height we can't change, mid face height we can't change, but lower face height can be changed by chin augmentation. So, and we Indians lack chin. Like every third or a fourth patient is a chin patient. We can do chin for him or her. Let's see the fantastic result of the chin, the mentalis muscle. So chin can be togetherly treated with the Botox as well as fillers. First, we have to do the mentalis. We have to relax the mentalis, and then we can add a volume using Juvederm Voluma filler. Okay. So these were the indications, before after photos, patient assessment related to Botox. Now let's quickly move to the last presentation, that is Juvederm. Yeah. Can you all see the Juvederm slide?
Yes.
Yeah. So Juvederm is the brand name of Allergan's filler, and under Juvederm we have 5 types of fillers, 5 variants. So it will come in the subsequent slides. So let's see. Fillers contains hyaluronic acid, and hyaluronic acid is nothing but a substance occurring in our skin. It's hydrophilic in nature. It absorbs and holds the water. It acts as a lubricant between collagen and elastin, and it influences the appearance of the skin by adding volume to it. And as we age, we start to lose hyaluronic acid, that is HA, and which causes the skin to lose its structure, volume, contributing to the formation of wrinkles and folds. We also call it as a naturally occurring sugar that is found in human body. And it also acts as a cushioning agent, and it also delivers the nutrient to the skin. Now, what is Juvederm? Juvederm refers to the range of smooth injectable dermal filler manufactured by Allergan. HA assists with the hydration combined with the collagen and elastin, helps to provide skin structure and elasticity. How is Juvederm made? So HA is produced using recombinant bacterial technology, similar to the way penicillin is derived from the mold. We derive the hyaluronic acid from the bacteria and we add cross-linkers to the HA, and we have proprietary two technologies, that is Hyalacross and Y-Cross. Furthermore, I'll explain both the technologies to you and the products under those. Why do Juvederm different variants are available? So Juvederm variants are specifically formulated to restore and enhance the skin volume in human face and to smoothen facial wrinkles and folds. Various variants are required for various anatomical features which are there in our faces. And Juvederm offers you a smooth, natural look and feel, a long-term duration, and a high patient satisfaction. Now let's see what are the factors we should consider while in developing an injectable filler or while choosing the injectable filler. So there are various factors here. You can see duration of effect, lift capacity, patient satisfaction, minimal patient discomfort, minimal patient downtime. It should provide a natural look. There should be a water uptake or a gel swelling, ease of injection to the physician, predictability of the improvement. There should be a predictable results. There should be a safety. Malleability means moldability. It should be moldable. So these are the various factors which are important while choosing the filler or developing the filler. And our Juvederm range ensures all these factors. So we have two different technologies, that is Hyalacross and Y-Cross. Under Hyalacross, there is a high cohesivity and moderate elasticity versus Y-Cross. 3D hyaluronic acid matrix is there, smooth and resistant to degradation. And under the Hyalacross technology, we have a product which has a longevity of 9 to 12 months. And Y-Cross is little bit different. It has a different balances of cohesivity and elasticity. It has a tailored moldability, lift capacity, and spreadability as compared to the Hyalacross technology. It has a smooth consistency gel in that. A low extrusion force is required, and the longest proven duration in clinical studies depending on which product you choose. So under Y-Cross we have a longevity which ranges from 9 to 24 months. So let's see the Y-Cross range. Under the Y-Cross range we have 4 products: Juvederm Voluma, Juvederm Volift, Juvederm Volbella, and Juvederm Volite. All the 4 fillers contains the 0.3% lidocaine. These are the box packing. Each box contains 2 syringes of 1 ml each. And in Hyalacross range, we have only one product, that is Juvederm Ultra Plus XC. Again, this product is also with lidocaine. The box contains 2 syringes of 1 ml each. So let's see the indications. Juvederm Voluma has a 20 mg HA concentration, 20 mg per ml. And it contains also 0.3% lidocaine. So our filler contains lidocaine, so it's an extra patient comfort to the patient during the injection. Let's see the indication. we can use Juvederm Voluma for the restoring of facial volume. So we can use for the temple fullness, we can use for cheek augmentation, we can use for nose correction or a nose bridge, we can use for a jawline correction or a creation, we can use for a chin augmentation. The longevity of Juvederm Voluma is up to 24 months. Let's come to the Juvederm Juvederm Volift. 17.5 mg per ml is the HA concentration in Juvederm Volift. Juvederm Volift can be used for the treatment of deep skin depressions, face contouring and volume restoration. So for static forehead lines, we can use Juvederm Volift. For eyebrow augmentation or eyebrow reshaping, we can use. For lips and perioral lines, Volift can be used. For anteromedial cheek or for our lateral cheek, we can use Volift. Nasolabial fold, mental crease, marionette lines, we can use Juvederm Volift. And here we can also use Juvederm Ultra Plus XC, the Hyla-Cross range product. The longevity of Juvederm Volift is up to 18 months. Next is Juvederm Volbella. It has a 15 mg per ml of hyaluronic acid concentration, again with lidocaine. It is used for the enhancement of tear troughs. In India, tear trough is the only indication which is approved indication for Juvederm Volbella. And the longevity of Juvederm Volbella is 12 months. Juvederm Ultra Plus XC also can be used for tear troughs, but we recommend Juvederm Volbella only for the smooth and natural results. Then we have a recently launched Juvederm Volite product, which has a concentration of 12 mg per ml. And this is the product which is used for increasing the overall skin quality of the face. Means every patient is a potential patient for this filler. So this can be used for face, hands, neck and decolletage. The longevity of Juvederm Volite is 9 months, up to 9 months. It provides a dermal hydration up to 9 months. One single treatment, 2 to 3 ml of Juvederm Volite, and it provides the hydration up to 9 months. A wonderful product, recently launched. So how does Juvederm work? Juvederm, as I have already told, Juvederm treats the static wrinkles and folds. It fills or plump ups the wrinkles and folds. It also stretches. It acts on your ligaments and stretches, and it gives the lift also. And Botox acts on dynamic wrinkles only. Botox doesn't work on static wrinkles. Juvederm Ultra Plus XC and Juvederm Voluma XC, these two variants can be used in a single session, provided as per the patient need. As I have already discussed, there is a difference between Botox and Juvederm. Botox acts on dynamic lines which are caused by the wrinkle causing muscles. Botox acts on muscles. Juvederm used for the volumization or the filling in the fat area or on the supraperiosteal level. In a nutshell, why do complications arise? So only 3 chances are there. Complication may arise injector related, that is technique and experience, may arise patient related, current and past medical history, and it may arise due to product related, maybe type, quality, biocompatibility, physical properties, and concentration. What are the possible side effects with duodenum? So during the procedures at the injection site, there may be a redness, pain, bruising, swelling, discoloration. So these are the some common side effects of the duodenum, and they are temporary. They resolve in a few days after the duodenum injections. So this was the, in a nutshell, all about the aging anatomy and introductory Botox and duodenum. Now the presentations are over. If you have any specific query or a doubt, you can ask. We still have 10-15 minutes in our hand.
Thanks a lot for conducting this session. Guys, go ahead. Any questions, any doubts? This is your time. Ask whatever questions you have. In case we don't have enough time, we'll take all the questions and we'll post the responses on the group. So we'll continue with this group for some more time. And whatever queries you have, ask them right now. We'll either answer them now or we'll post the responses on the group. Please go ahead.
So does it take a single sitting?
Sorry?
Does it take a single sitting or multiple sittings?
We can do the procedure like Botox procedures are single sitting sessions only, and duodenum also are single sitting sessions if the budget of a patient permits. Like when a patient comes and if a patient want to do, for example, tear trough area, under eye area, right? So treating under eye area directly can be done in a single session, but recent practice or a recent guidelines shows that if we want to treat a tear trough area, there is the involvement of complete periorbital area, and in periorbital area cheek fat also plays an important role. So first we can give the lift to the cheek and then we can touch the tear trough.
सर जुवेडम वो लाइट जो है वो हम 2-3 ml देते हैं, तो वो
Sorry?
होल फेस पे हाइड्रेशन का स्टेप है. हेलो हेलो
Hello?
सर जुवेडम वी गिव वो लाइट है ना, वो लाइट
Volite, okay.
we give 2 to 3 ml, and how it gives the मतलब हाइड्रेशन इफेक्ट पूरे फेस को वो कैसे देता है? फिर मल्टीपल इंजेक्शन देते हैं क्या फिर हम?
Yes. Like 2 to 3 ml we recommend, like 1 ml per cheek, means both the cheeks will require 2 ml. Third syringe will cover your forehead and chin area. So multiple pricks. We form a grid like checks 2 centimeter or 1 centimeter grids we form, and in one single square 1 centimeter grid we give 0.05 ml, means 1 ml, in 1 ml we give 20 pricks on one cheek. Likewise,
Sir,
and
blood
intradermal is the
doesn't
pipe.
catch. Okay.
Sorry?
Sir, it doesn't spread through blood vessels, na? Throughout the whole face.
Intradermal is the plane.
So can you just explain the procedure, how the actual procedure takes place? I mean, what kind of bore of needle is used in this? And it is all been given intradermal. So is there a specific angle required?
Yeah, you 45-degree angle is required. We recommend 1 to 2 bevel deep injection, and if a lump is formed, you can immediately mold that lump with just pressing that lump. So the injection points and all, or the injection techniques, the dosage, the markings, uh, this is a separate, altogether separate training session is there. Here just I wanted to make one point. Allergan Medical Institute arranges training sessions for the doctors. Here, Allergan as a company doesn't train the BMS and BHMS fraternity, but if BMS and BHMS fraternity has patients, then you can contact me. We have a expert doctors which can come at your clinic, which will inject your patients if you allow, and you can pay them their injection charges.
Are there any more questions?
Yes, sir. One question.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
सर इसका वन टाइम देने के बाद ये कितने दिन चलता है सर? ये एक टाइम एक बार देने के बाद ये लाइफ टाइम यूज होता है या फिर अगेन देना पड़ता है बोटॉक्स सर?
Every filler has a certain longevity which I have shared during the presentation. Like Botox has a longevity of 4 to 6 months, and fillers longevity varies from 9 months to 24 months. So after that, if a patient want, he or she can repeat. It should be taken as a maintenance therapy, because aging is a continuous phenomenon. So if we want to maintain, then we should repeat it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So it's
So for maintenance, same dose will be required. Or
sorry.
for maintenance, same dose will be required, or less amount of dose.
When it comes to Botox, like if you are frequently taking Botox, then the number of units or the dose comes down slightly. But when it comes to filler, like as per the patient expectations, the dose varies, or the same or a more dose may require, because the aging occurs or varies patient to patient.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay.
Can we give Botox and fillers at the same time in a patient if we see both the type of indications, like using Botox and fillers?
So you mean to say, can we give Botox and patient at the same time to the same client? right?
Yeah, Botox and fillers.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, we can give, but whenever such patient is there, we should do filler first and Botox after,
After.
because after fillers we require some kind of molding or massaging at that particular area, but after Botox we can't mold or we can't rub that area. So whenever such case arises, whenever such patient is there, filler first, Botox after.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So if you wanted to know about the uh, product, their pricing, training, then you can contact me. You can take my contact number. I am the official person from Allergan, which is handling rest of Maharashtra. So if you want, you can note down my mobile number. It's 880-5451-888. Or you can contact Nandanji, and Nandanji will route to me.
Thank you, sir. Sir, repeat again your mobile number.
Sorry?
Repeat again your mobile number, sir.
It's 880 5451 888.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Is there one more last question? Somebody would want to ask another question? Okay, then I would like to then thank everyone for joining. Special thanks to Mr. Sagar for conducting this session. Now, these sessions, why we are conducting these sessions is because we feel that this field is changing dynamically, and we need to keep all our students updated about, technology and anything else that is coming up in the market and what else can they do. So we will keep conducting these sessions. The idea is that we'll do at least one session every month where you guys can learn something new that is happening out there in the industry. Or, there can be sessions which will help you to enhance your practice. For example, we are planning a session of how to buy your first laser. Now, if you're planning to buy a laser, which laser is your first laser? Those kind of things. So we'll keep in touch with you, all of you, and we'll keep conducting these sessions. This was the first one in a long series, hopefully. So keep in touch with us if you have any other, queries, or you would want some specific topics to be covered. Then communicate that to us. We'll definitely try to conduct a session on that. As Mr. Sagar said, if any of you are interested in a more detailed Botox and fillers session, get in touch with me. Or Saili and them. We will see if there is enough interest. We will conduct one session here in the center itself. Okay, then thanks a lot, and we will now close this session. We'll keep in touch with you about the future sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandani, sir. Hello.